Twin flames. Various listeners, viewers, and readers have asked me for some time to address the question of twin flames. They've put various articles in front of me that have been placed upon the internet, by those that talk about the concept of twin flames, and it is an important matter to address. I pulled up, just at random, some information that talks about what a twin flame is. What I'm going to do is utilize this information and provide you with my observations upon it in order to increase understanding about what really is being written about. What is a twin flame? Well, the material that I've accessed states as follows. A twin flame is an intense soul connection, sometimes called a mirror soul, thought to be a person's other half. It's based on the idea that sometimes one soul gets split into two bodies. One of the main characteristics of a twin flame relationship is that it will be both challenging and healing. This is due to the mirroring nature of a twin flame. They show you your deepest insecurities, fears, and shadows, but they also help you overcome them, and vice versa. Your twin flame will be equally affected by you. First of all, leaving aside the idea of whether there is a soul or not, and I know some people believe in that. The only souls I understand are the ones that I eat for breakfast, of course. But leaving that to one side, what do we have here? There is the idea that there was something that is split into two and ends up in two separate bodies. This has the smack of magical thinking about it. More importantly, however, is this sentence. This is due to the mirroring nature of a twin flame. What is it that my kind do? We mirror. We mirror in order to ensnare you. We, in effect, reflect yourself back at you. We mirror in order to fit in. It is the case that people, and I've explained this previously, are in essence looking for their other half in the sense of somebody who is very similar to themselves, of similar levels of physical attractiveness, similar intellect, similar interests, similar moral viewpoint, similar standards of behaviour. Not exact duplicates, but certain similarities. And what we do is by mirroring the things that you're interested in, the things that you stand for, the things that you like and that you dislike, it enables us to not only pass off as being, in effect, more acceptable, if you will, but also it dupes individuals into believing that we are attuned, aligned with you, that we are very much like you, that you found somebody who is very much a good match for you. And of course, this mirroring is a manipulation. It is done unconsciously, where lesser or mid-range narcissist, or it is undertaken consciously in a calculated fashion where greater or ultra. But this concept of finding somebody that mirrors you, and that is a good thing, is not, because that is what a narcissist does. The material talks about a number of signs when you found your twin flame. First of all, when you met, there was instant recognition. When you first encounter your twin flame, it's explained that there's an intense sense of attraction, recognition, and longing. Meeting a twin flame often feels like home. They feel familiar, an undeniably intense bond, as though you've known them before. Of course, what are we seeing at play here? Infatuation on the side of the narcissist, the presence of the addiction on the part of the empathic victim. The idea that there is an undeniable intense bond is something that a narcissist experiences, driven by the narcissism, to cause the narcissist to act on that, to go hell for leather through the love bombing to ensnare the victim. For the empathic victim, the reason that so many victims get caught by our kind and keep getting caught by us is because narcissism feels like home, because of the presence of the addiction that the empath has. Meeting a narcissist, although they don't know that's what they've met, feels familiar to them because it resonates with an earlier experience in their formative years, which led to the formation of the addiction. This instant recognition embodies the infatuation of the narcissist and the addiction of the empathic victim. The article explains, you're very similar. You and your twin flame may find that you have a lot in common as far as values, past experience and interests. Both of you will find that your past story has a lot of coincidences and similar experiences. This, once again, is the mirroring behaviour of the narcissist at work. In order to control the victim, the narcissistic perspective alters and shifts because we're chameleons, and therefore we will apparently have interests, values, past experiences which are similar to yours, because our narcissism creates this in order to control you. The article explains you complement each other. In those areas that you aren't similar, you find your differences complement each other, almost like yin and yang. Their shadow, for example, will be complemented by your light and vice versa. And because a twin flame mirrors you, you're likely very aware of how your relationship highlights your shadows and theirs. This again falls into the realm of magical thinking. Your insecurities and doubts are amplified. A normal and healthy relationship ought not to be about insecurity and doubt. Of course, people have them, but where it is a relationship that's founded on emotional empathy, I've observed, studied and analysed and witnessed that such a relationship isn't about amplifying the insecurities and doubts at all. It's about reducing them, extinguishing them, catering for them, supporting to provide security and the removal of doubt. The article continues to say that the purpose of your twin flame is to support and help you with your divine mission and purpose. So often this type of relationship will reflect your problems and deepest insecurities so you can work through them to heal and grow. The amplification of those problems is not something that is part of a healthy relationship. Indeed, who is it that comes along and finds your insecurities and doubts and utilises them, either consciously or unconsciously, against you with regard to the apparent provision of support at the beginning, where perhaps you're suffering a vulnerability, perhaps as a consequence of a previous poor relationship, undoubtedly with a narcissist, but you didn't realise, and therefore the mid-range narcissist comes along and gives the impression of being kind and supportive and considerate, helping you through that difficult period. And then, of course, those vulnerabilities will be used against you during a period of sustained devaluation. And therefore, the apparent support and help with regard to your insecurities and doubts is done as part of a manipulation and the achievement of the prime aims, and thereafter, amplification of those things are not something that anybody with emotional empathy would do. Next, they feel magnetic. The article states, from the moment you met and still to this day, you feel drawn to them physically when they're near you, as well as magnetically when you're apart. It's as though their energy is always with you, always wanting to be closer. Such a concept exhibits ownership and magical thinking of the narcissist and the emotional thinking of the empathic victim to believe that you're drawn to that individual still. The next item, the relationship is tumultuous. Twin flame relationships aren't all smooth sailing, and actually they're usually not. What kind of relationship does that sound like to you? Is that the relationship between two normal people, two empathic people, or a normal and empathic person that have emotional empathy for one another? No. But does it sound like the relationship between a narcissist and an empathic victim? Indeed it does. To describe a relationship as tumultuous, the up and down the roller coaster ride accords entirely with people's experience of being romantically involved with a narcissist. The article states, being with a twin flame is like constantly being confronted by yourself. namely the parts of yourself you may not like. It can be incredibly challenging, but it's facilitating major growth for both of you. You experienced a tumultuous relationship with the narcissist, didn't you? You found it incredibly challenging. Did that result in major growth for you? You might argue, I learned things about myself that I didn't know. Fair enough. But you could achieve that without being ensnared by a narcissist. And I imagine that many of you listening would say, for all that I might have learned about myself, I'd preferred not to have done that and avoided the narcissist in the first place. A healthy relationship is not a tumultuous one. And to suggest that a tumultuous relationship is somehow a romantic, according to this concept of a twin flame and facilitating major growth, is to euphemize something that's far more dangerous. 7. The relationship is very intense. Describe that there's a definite emotional charge between twin flames, and they often develop quickly because you already feel so familiar. Developing quickly. What develops quickly in the relationship between the narcissist and the empath? So many things. Moving in together, swift declaration of love, swift engagement, swift marriage, swift pregnancy, swift sharing of finances. Why? Nothing to do with this notion of a twin flame, and everything to do with the narcissist asserting control with maximum speed in order to secure the prime provider of the prime aims, and as a consequence of the addiction of the emotional thinking of the empathic victim flaring up so that they believe that they have met this very special person, and to move forward as quickly as possible in order not to lose them, in order to move to even more supposedly solid ground. Next point, you keep coming back together. You keep coming back together. Well, that presupposes two things, doesn't it? You split up, and then you come back together again. Which relationships often involve splitting up or parting ways and then coming back together again? Let us think. Of course. The situation which involves a narcissist and their victim. If it's the shelf dynamic, you're apart and then you're hoovered off the shelf and then you're put back on the shelf. Where it is a relationship with an intimate partner primary source, the relationship ends and either you're sucked back in after being the former intimate partner primary source to become the primary source once again, or the relationship doesn't start up again, but there are continued interactions thereafter as you're hoovered. The article continues, the chase is most definitely a part of the twin flame relationship. At some point, one of you may walk away out of fear, anger, you name it, but you'll always come back. If you're in an on and off again type relationship, it could be with your twin flame. No, if you're in an on and off relationship, you're in a relationship with a narcissist. This is what we do. The article continues, you'll find things that just keep bringing you together in random ways. Magical thinking. Could be months, years, even decades. You'll always find your way back to one another. Certainly will be the case as a consequence of you not putting in place a solid no-contact regime arising from the effect of your emotional thinking and a misunderstanding about what no contact means, and of course the sense of entitlement of the narcissist to keep coming back and drawing of the prime aims from you as our possession. This concept of the chase, which I may come back to in a separate video because that seems to me that it's a subject worthwhile analysing in its own video. But at this juncture, I want to cover all of the points that arise in this particular description of the main dynamics of the twin flames. The idea of the chase is this. It's hoovering. It's shelving, which of course is a form of hoovering. It isn't something to do with twin flames. It's a dynamic between narcissist and empathic victim. The next point, your connection feels divine. When you find your twin flame, there's a certain larger-than-life quality that likely feels divine or predestined. There's a feeling that you've been brought together by a higher power. Infatuation, magical thinking of the narcissist, the emotional thinking caused by the addiction appertaining to the empathic victim. You have an almost psychic connection. You and your twin flame can likely communicate with just a glance, and you always know what the other is thinking. You may even feel each other's emotions or symptoms. Well, the narcissist doesn't feel your emotions at all. What we do, though, is give the appearance that we do because of our ability to manipulate you in such a way, and that we do this either through instinct or calculation. And, of course, empathic victims do feel the emotions of others, particularly as a consequence of the presence of the contagion empath. The final point, they push you to be and do better. Because twin flames act as mirrors, they challenge us to do better, and oftentimes your purposes are aligned in a way that pushes both of you to new heights. It's a very expansive relationship that promotes a lot of growth. The relationship between the supposed twin flames is one between narcissist and empath, and it doesn't promote a lot of growth, as all of you that have suffered as a consequence of the interaction with our kind will testify to. The article then goes on to talk about the 8 stages of a twin flame relationship. Stage 1, yearning. Before the two of you meet, you'll have an awareness that your other half is out there for you. There is deep longing in this phase, and there'll be inner work during this phase to prepare you for meeting your twin flame. Magical thinking. Stage 2, meeting. Once you meet, your world will be rocked. Prepare to fall fast. When you meet, it is an insane instant attraction. You often can't keep your hands off one another and think about and want to spend a ton of time with each other constantly. What does that sound like? In a word, love bombing. The infatuation of the narcissist and the need to assert control by monopolizing your time, and, of course, the use of sex as a major method of seduction, and for the empathic victim, whose addiction has kicked into life, and the rampant emotional thinking causes them to believe that they are hugely attracted to this individual without realizing what they're dealing with. Stage 3, the honeymoon phase. Yes, twin flames can have a honeymoon phase, states the article. In this phase, your relationship is new, meaningful, and positive. How long it lasts depends on the couple before challenges arise. Sounds very much like the golden period, doesn't it? Stage 4, challenges emerge. Sooner or later, core wounds emerge and differences arise in the relationship. Often these challenges are a reflection of the soul work the two of you need to do on your own. It's often not about improving the relationship, but rather improving yourself. In other words, this is all about demonstrating that you've entered devaluation. Differences arise. So how is it that if the relationship was so meaningful that it suddenly started to go wrong? That will be because the narcissist has now moved to devaluation for the reasons that I explain in separate videos as to why we do that. Stage 5. The test. Your love will be put to a test, explains the article, as you start to dive deep into your shadow sides. All your insecurities will rear up as you start to question yourself and each other. One partner may even avoid the other or even abandon the relationship, while the other feels emotionally insecure. Sounds familiar again, doesn't it? Your insecurities, the empathic victim, come to the fore. The narcissist's paranoia comes to the fore with accusations about your supposed infidelity, not loving the narcissist enough, not doing things in a particular way, all through the narcissistic perspective, which alters the view of the narcissist to cause him or her to question you. There may be avoiding present silent treatment, absent silent treatment, or abandonment of the relationship. At this juncture, more likely disengagement by the narcissist than necessarily escape by the victim, although that of course can happen. Stage 6. The chase. The chase is a big part of many twin flame relationships. Someone will always walk away. Twin flame relationships have a ton of push-pull. Part of the chase is the reward for each person. But there will be a time when one partner will pull away, and this causes separation. Again, the chase. A person pulls away. You're put on the shelf, and then you're hoovered. The chase just describes the nature of a narcissistic dynamic. 7. The surrender. The chase can go on for years, explains the article, but should the two of you work through all your triggers, insecurities, and challenges, you'll come back together. This is the surrender into the relationship and big picture for you both. You accept and allow each other to be who they are, flaws and all. This is where you come back again. No, this is where the narcissist ensnares again, only to go through all of the behaviour once again. You can't work through the triggers and insecurities and challenges because you're involved with the narcissist. We don't change. And you will just be self-flagellating, trying to achieve the impossible. Stage 8, coming home. And finally, once you've fully surrendered and accepted your destiny, your life begins and balance feels restored. Shared meaning is created and there is more empathy and understanding in the relationship. In this stage, you support each other and continue to facilitate growth for the other. Won't happen. I should imagine that most people who talk about twin flames find that they don't get beyond stage 6 or 7, and this nirvana that is suggested of coming home is again part of this magical thinking of saying you just need to try a bit harder, you just need to work through those insecurities and triggers and challenges a bit more, hang in there, all part of the bad advice. An unaware narcissist will see the other person as the problem and think that they should be the one that makes the changes. The empathic victim doesn't realize what they're dealing with and will continue to sacrifice themselves at the altar of the narcissist in pursuit of the unachievable, namely balance, surrendering, shared meaning, empathy. They're dealing with a narcissist and we have no empathy. This is just a short analysis of but one article talking about what twin flames are and the dynamic. It is absolutely the description of the dynamic between narcissist and empath. And to dress it up as this mystical, romantic concept of twin flames is at best misleading and at worst dangerous. Is it any wonder that we are able to do what we are able to do when people describe the narcissistic dynamic in such detail without ever actually mentioning what it really is? This is why that individuals who've created this concept, who will of course be narcissists and not realize it, continue to facilitate this idea, and unaware empaths fall prey to it, believing, oh yes, this push and pull, it's just part of being a twin flame. It's the chase. It's the test. The challenge is emerging. No, it's not a narcissist. No, this is my twin flame. And they strap themselves to this person, conned by their own emotional thinking and ignorant material which propagates this concept of twin flames, resulting in an empathic victim falling for it hook, line and sinker. Indeed, an unaware narcissist will fall for it also, not realizing, of course, what they are, and they will utilize the concept of the twin flame as a basis for saying, we're twin flames. This is just what happens, this falling out. And perhaps where the empathic victim has had a moment of logic and wishes to escape, they do not do so, because they're conned by the rampant emotional thinking and this concept that the narcissist has seized hold of saying, we're meant to be together. We need to get to the point of the coming home. We just need to work through all of these triggers and insecurities and challenges. It's meant to be. The concept of twin flames describes that between the narcissist and the empathic victim. It is clear as day. This has been a Tudor treatment. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.